I think we should go through the wild card games in order. Actually, yeah.
Good.
If we go through them in order, it is on the docket. The Chargers played the Texans. Justin Herbert shit the bed. The Texans looked really good. CJ Stroud looked really good. Their defense looked really good. We were all really high on the Texans at the start of the season. I was really high on the Chargers for the entirety of the season. I was really high on the Harbaugh hire because I wanted him in Chicago. I was really high on their performances. I was really high on Herbert. Absolute murdered my take in week 1 of the wild card round. My take was just taken out in public, in a public square, flogged, and then shot like it was Mussolini's Italy. And I can't defend it really, because I still do believe that Herbert is a good quarterback. I still see with my eyes when he plays well what it looks like, and it's like a lot of fun, and I really like the kind of quarterback that he is. But man, I mean, he threw 4 picks. He threw a touchdown, but he threw 4 picks.
3 of those were his faults.
I was looking back on it because I know
so badly not his fault.
One of them was an absolutely egregious one. One of them was not his fault at all.
Yes, that's why I said 3 of them.
I'd say the other, and I'd say the other 2, they sort of have to be blamed on him because like he didn't make the reads. So like it is what it is. He threw 4 picks. It was bad. It was a bad performance. It was a bad performance from the team. And honestly, you can tell why the Rams are LA's team, because they stepped up for our on fire city and the Chargers just didn't. Mike, I mean, feel free. This is absolutely your victory lap on Herbert moment. So feel free to shit on him as much as you like. And I'll try my absolute best to argue back.
Well, I just said he's not the guy because we've seen him twice in the playoffs now, right? The first time was when they were up 30-7 against the Jaguars 2 years ago, and they lost that game 31-30. So like you are the quarterback of a team that let up a 24-point comeback against Trevor Lawrence and Doug fucking Peterson.
But he's not on the defense, right? So
sure, but he stopped putting up points.
I know you got to control the game. I get it, but
sure.
You know, it's saying like he's not completely. We tend to lay a lot of quarterbacks, but I mean he can't intercept the ball.
But just remember, whatever you're going to use to defend him in this chat, remember when we talk about Jordan Love. Just remember that, okay? So
yes, absolutely.
Like the Jaguars weren't rolling out Warren Sapp, Ed Reed, and Ty Law. Okay, so he did not move the ball, but then this game, it just felt like pretty instantly it got out of control, and he just never was able to find the pace. Now that's not all his fault. His offensive line, which had looked really good all year, looked absolutely fucking terrible, and it looked like you only had one weapon who still went off. I mean, McConkey is a problem. I'm so glad that we picked.
He's great.
Jalen Polk over at Lad McConkey. What a great selection by Ellie fucking Wolf. But like,
it's funny too because Lad McConkey's such a Patriots pickup. Like historically, like he's such a little white guy and like a wide receiver. Like,
Wes Welker-esque for sure.
Yeah, it's so strange.
I just want to let you know, like his Justin Herbert's stats in the playoffs. He's 0-2, 2 touchdowns, 4 picks, 250 yards per game. Like those are his stats. That does not scream, the guy. Until I'm proven wrong.
If it weren't for that long touchdown too, his numbers would have been so abysmal in this past game because there was the long.
Okay, all right, but he threw the pass.
If it wasn't for those 4, if it wasn't for those 4 picks, his numbers would be great too.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. I mean, like he threw the fucking touchdown pass. It didn't come down from the sky. I can't accept that.
It's a double coverage.
I will just say, if we do, it's hard because I have to fulcrum him against Jordan Love. So I don't want to jump ahead, but I will just say that I think Herbert's been in much, much more dysfunctional situations for much longer than Jordan Love has been. Maybe yes, simply by the merit of him playing for 2 more years, right? 2 more seasons he's got, I think. So yeah, maybe just by that merit, but things were going so wrong. Like I was sort of just making the point about Caleb Williams, like things are going so wrong around Herbert. Like when you apply the context to the data, you can see like everybody agreed last year he had the worst fucking coach in the NFL coaching him, right? So to me, as much as Herbert had a bad game and he's now had 2 bad playoff games, I don't think I would call Jordan Love necessarily a fraud, but I do think that it's starting to look suspicious. And I think if you look at Herbert, it's starting to look suspicious. But one guy's had the same coach, building up the same offense with a bunch of guys around his age, really young team as they start to go, and they were in the playoffs last year. right? They had that whole system set up and they were in the playoffs last year and they won a game in the playoffs last year. They regressed. If you look at the Chargers, the Herbert-led Chargers, they're on fucking schedule, right? Like they're perfectly on schedule. So they went out in the first round of the playoffs.
Harbaugh-led Chargers, not the Herbert-led Chargers. Because we've seen what Herbert.
Well, in relation to no, I know, but in relation to the Love-led, in relation to the Love QB room and his team, you have to look at the circumstances both quarterbacks are in, right? New coach this year, first time, you have to give them a little bit of a reset, right? So, yeah, in this era, it's bad. It's hard to defend that performance. You have to, again, apply context. If you look at the team around Herbert, I mean, I don't know why you're laughing. You do. You have to apply context to these things. If you look at the actual games,
context and nuance to the people that you defend, and never the ones that you shit on.
I'm doing it to both of them. I'm literally doing it to both of them. I'm applying it to Jordan Love. Jordan Love's defense was playing fucking great in that game. They were putting the offense in a position to win that game. And the only thing that lost the Packers that game was bad quarterback play. Like the only guy that didn't show up for the Packers for the whole 3 quarters that were the Eagles just could not get out of their own way and they couldn't get off the ground offensively. The Packers defense was showing up and everybody was looking at Jordan Love going, homie, can you just like play good? Like you're getting like $200 million. Can you just fucking play good? Herbert, yes, played shit, but the whole fucking team played shit. Okay, it wasn't as if the defense was over there giving them a great chance to win, and there was just quarterback play to be applied. So yes, you apply context to both situations, and the context doesn't favor Jordan Love in those games, if you look at both of those games. So I can't defend the individual game. I can't.
His top 2 wide receivers were taken out of the game with injury, and I would say, like, if Vlad McConkey
Herbert's top 2 weapons were sold to other teams in the offseason. So, like, if you look at everything that they put around Jordan Love as far as skill players go,
that's not the same as having them all
but
year.
But we both know that he has to go get skill players, right? Like that's going to be the next step in the progression of the Chargers. Like he has to go get skill players. So, and like that's not what they're saying about the Packers. They're saying I think they have all the ingredients. They just need to get a little bit more experienced. So, I think if you look at it, we're not going to come to a conclusion of like one is better than the other right now. That's not like really the answers that we're seeking. In a who would you rather have, I'm just going off watching both guys play, and I just think I'd rather have Herbert, especially if you base it on this regular season.
If Jordan Love was the exact same stats, let's just say he played for the Rams.
It's hard to compare the regular seasons because of injury, but.
Well, I mean, their first 2 years, Jordan Love is 18-15 and 1-2 in the playoffs. Herbert's first 2 years, he's 15-17, 0-2 in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about their numbers though. I'm talking about like their touchdown and interception numbers. So if you look at the regular season, it's hard to compare.
Really hard to compare.
So, like it's difficult to like look at those. That's all I'm saying. So it's like hard to factor that in case somebody was screaming at their radio being like, well, but no, Herbert so if we call that
9,300 passing yards, 69 touchdowns. I mean, that's
it's just because he's also played for 2 years, 2 extra seasons. You know what I mean? So it's like there is a larger data set, which I concede to you because you're looking at a situation where he's had more time. I mean, they're both the same age, but he has had more time to really like lead a team and like wins and like not been able to do it. But I would probably counter that with the idea that like the coaching staff, I mean, it's been
before we let Bobby speak for the first time in like 20 minutes. Sorry, Bobby. I will just say that the head coaching situation that Herbert had to deal with his first 2 years or 3 years, I don't think it's as bad as having to go to work and be told that you're a piece of shit by Aaron Rodgers for your first 3 years as a quarterback in the NFL. I think that's both toxic. So I think I'd
have to agree with that because if Aaron Rodgers ever into my face told me I was a piece of shit, I'd be serving a life sentence for murder. So it was like I have no I couldn't possibly argue with that. I'd be looking for a reason. So it is what it is. Guy went down a YouTube rabbit hole and he thinks he's smarter than doctors. It's fucking worst guy ever. But it's fine. Look, here's the thing. Sometimes when I watch Jordan Love play quarterback, I get a feeling, not hope that he sucks, relief that he sucks. And I'm just a little consoled by that feeling because I'm like, oh, thank God it's not a third guy in a row at that level. I'm not saying he's going to be bad necessarily. I'm saying that I think in a year, my prediction is that they're going to be real mad about his contract. I think that the Packers fan base is going to be pretty upset about how much money he's on. I think we're going to be in a Dak Prescott situation. And I think
Who would you take, Jordan Love or Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott.
I would take Caleb Williams, but I would definitely take I would take Dak Prescott. I wouldn't be happy about it, but in this very narrow situation that you've given me, it's like, do you choose the blindfold and the cigarette or just the cigarette? Like, I don't know. Just from my personal opinion. Now, have I seen Jordan Love play well? Yeah. I mean, Caleb Williams is undefeated at Lambeau Field in 2025, baby. Jordan Love 0-2 in 2025. One from the Bears, one from the Eagles. Caleb Williams 1-0 in 2025. New era has arrived. But yes, I'm sorry, Bobby. We should include you after biting each other's throats out for 10 minutes.
Jordan Love's lows are much lower than Herbert's lows, in my opinion. That's and they're more consistently low. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
You just saw a game that argues that point, but go ahead. 4 picks. No,
I'm just so. I mean, that was.
But Love sucked too.
Yeah, but that was more interceptions than he had all season. That was more interceptions than he had all season.
I
just
3 all season. That's pretty good.
Love gets a lot of credit for that one game that he had against the Cowboys last year, and he's been riding that ever since.
Yeah, that game, by the way, after that game, both of you on this very show, Dave said, it makes me fucking sick that they might have their third straight quarterback. Bobby said, Jordan Love is the real fucking deal. And now, a year later, it's, I think I was right about Jordan. He's not going to be that good. He sucks. He's a fraud.
Well, I'm glad I used the word might then, if you're quoting me verbatim. Because, I mean, you don't want to say things like definitely around here. No. I don't know. I mean, I still am undecided. I wouldn't say I'm 100% sure that he's the guy that showed up in this game. I wouldn't say that I'm 100% sure he's not, though. And I think I'm leaning not. And I think you could probably account for 10% of my lean with how much I'm hoping, but I think I'm leaning 20%. So we'll have to see. But you're saying you'd take Herbert over, or you'd take Love over Herbert 10 times out of 10 twice on Sunday.
Yes.
For the New England Patriots, you're about to build a team up, and the guy that you want is Jordan Love.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
That's also because I've seen Justin Herbert play in Gillette, and aside from this year, it's been terrible. Always terrible. I don't.
He really did look great under Harbaugh in the regular season this year. Like, he looked like he could be like a top 5 guy. I feel like. I don't know. It was really disappointing. I was really disappointed with their performance overall. I really was high on them, but thankfully it was my one major take that died this weekend. Everything else came home to roost. So I'm really glad to get this one out of the way early. I'm really excited to talk about the Vikings. But again, it's hard, right? It's hard to have these arguments because we don't really know. Like, that we have to, because what could be true is both of them suck. Like, that actually could be true, because every year we're told the same thing. This was the narrative of either last year or the year before, I can't remember, where me and Bobby were just hoping against hope that the Chiefs and Mahomes weren't going to be the guys. And, Bobby was like knocking him down the power rankings. And then we all got taught, like, just don't bet against Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. So, like, now nobody does, because we just got slapped too many times, right? And we just saw them do what they can do in, like, those big situations. When you're looking at this set of data that we have, you're reminded again after wildcard weekend, every year you're reminded again, there's 5 good quarterbacks, maybe, right? Like, that's what we basically get reminded all regular season. There's maybe this guy, maybe this guy, maybe this guy, maybe this guy. And we're all playing the game. And this season, I started to just bet no more often on it. Can this guy get it done? Because it's just more likely to be true, right? That they're just going to go out embarrassingly wildcard weekend, Darnold, or they're going to, maybe win one game and then regress the next season and not win any playoff games or whatever it is. There's basically 3 to 5 guys, and 2 of them are probably arguable, that you would really say, like, they can get it done. They can be a dude that gets it done for you. And, like, one of them's Joe Burrow. And like, if you look at the data, just the data, nope. But like, no one's going to sit here and say Herbert over Burrow or fucking, or Love over Burrow. Right. No. So, it's tough. It's tough to look at. Basically, there's one quarterback. There's one good quarterback, and that's where we are in the NFL. And every year we hope Lamar Jackson is one too, and then he doesn't show up in the playoffs. But